And welcome to the Deuce Podcast. I'm Brad.
And I'm Jeremy.
Jeremy, it's a cruel, cruel summer.
It is.
Now that you're gone. You were a cruel, cruel summer. And we're doing our Cruel Summer series.
Yes, we are.
Based on the Bananarama song and not the Netflix television series, Cruel Summer. Although you should watch that.
Yes.
But we're doing episode 157 of Cruel Summer. It's our showcase of sequels that you didn't know existed.
Yeah.
That are really, really bad.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty fair.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
It's been pretty fair so far.
Pretty fair so far. Today we're doing the follow-up to the 1991 classic. I would say that the first movie is a classic, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that
I don't think... Yeah, I think it is. It's just not... I think at the time it was a little bit more well-known. I think now it's not.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's kind of
it's
not
more,
held the test of time. I
don't know. I haven't seen it for a while, but, you know.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that
right.
It's not good anymore, that it doesn't hold up. I'm saying that, like, you know, like that buzz, like, it's not one of those things where, like, kids, it's Easter, you know what we're watching.
Backdraft. Although, isn't Backdraft 2 kind of a Halloween movie?
I guess.
Backdraft 2, the 2019, I want to say 1990 because that's what this movie kind of reminds me of, a 1990s movie. The 2019 follow-up to the 1991 film Backdraft. Backdraft 2. You didn't need it, but it's here, folks. Yeah. And we watched it for you. It's on Netflix.
It is.
So if you do want to watch it.
So if you were like, I wonder what happened 18 years after Backdraft, then now you know.
Is it 18 years? No, it's not 18. Yeah, it's about 20. Yeah, right?
Yeah. 2019.
So how old would his son
1991?
be? 20 something?
Yeah, in his 20s.
Whatever. This kid, he looked 30 to me.
Well, I would be surprised if he was only 30.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah, right?
He was born in 82.
82.
Yep.
Well, there you go. So he is about, what?
So when it came out, he was...
40?
It came out in 19. So he was, what, 37? So, you know, just a little... Timeline's just a little skewed.
I don't know why that, like, flipped on something. Whatever. There we go. All right. Backdraft 2, of course, stars the very talented Joe Anderson. Why'd you give me the side eye when I said that?
Because I didn't want it to get over the mic.
Billy Baldwin reprises his role from the first movie. So does Donald Sutherland as the arsonist, Ronald Bartel.
Yeah.
And you would say Ashley Bailey probably has a chunky role in this as well. She plays Maggie, who's the arsonist kind of that he takes under his wing because... Yeah,
they work in the OFI, which is the Office of Fire Investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And the Office of Fire Investigation actually shows up in the first movie. It's Robert De Niro plays Donald Rimgale, who's like the fire investigator who's trying to track down the arsonist.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. No, I know. I am correct.
This movie is quite interesting. I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell us a little bit about it. A little plot synopsis.
No, the plot synopsis? Okay, Here we go. The sequel to the 1991 hit follows an investigator with the Chicago Fire Department who has to track down an arms dealer who used deadly fire as a distraction. And...
Sorry.
You okay? You think it's going to be longer while you caught your...
No. Yeah. This movie just chokes me up. How wonderful it is.
From the makers of Backdraft comes Backwash.
Backwash. Sorry about that. Oh my God.
On your drink.
Backspit. Whatever.
Whoa, that's...
What?
Backspit? I think it's something else.
Does it really?
No.
I don't know what that means. This movie is quite something else. It is directed by I think a foreign gentleman. I can't think of his name right now. Don't know the director, but the
Gonzalo
writer.
Lopez Gallego.
Yes.
Yeah.
The writer was the original writer of Backdraft, and
Yep.
you told me this is the first I'm actually learning this, is that Backdraft was the same screenwriter as Highlander.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Crazy. And so, and he also wrote Highlander 2. So you said this was the Highlander 2 of Backdraft.
This is the Highlander 2 of Backdraft movies.
And you would be correct.
He also wrote the Prophecy series, which came apart at the seams real fast after a while.
Is that, what's his face, Christopher Walken?
I thought that was the one.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I remember people being like, ooh, like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, yeah, that was Christopher Walken, Elias Koteas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Eric Stoltz. I think
so you would say, like, his height of screenwriting is mostly in the 90s.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think that's fair.
I'm just saying, when you watch this movie, it feels like it's a movie that should have been in 1996.
Yeah, kind of.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it should be a 2019 movie. It feels like it's lagging some stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It also feels like it's all over the place. At one moment, it's a firefighter movie. Another movie, it's a arson movie. It's a political movie. It's a terrorist movie.
Yeah.
It's never a comedy because I've never laughed at it. Well, no, right. I did, but not for the reasons why it should be. Right? He's chasing an arsonist at the beginning of the movie, and he captures him, and he goes, "Oh no! What are you, a cop?" And he goes, "No, I'm a fireman."
Which is where...
And then it, like, breaks into, like, the opening credits.
Yeah.
And we laughed so hard.
Yeah. But if, you know, it's like it was written for TV. That's, like, where...
It is.
That's where, like,
the
that's where, like, the Who music should bust in.
Yes.
When they're, like, CSI.
Wow. This
CSI
did feel
arson.
like a CSI... Chicago Fire, a very procedural kind of TV show and not really a movie.
Yeah.
Backdraft, if I remember correctly, and it's been forever since I've seen it, has more action in it and more. Well, it's saved by the fact that Kurt Russell's in it.
Yes.
Also, why couldn't we get Wyatt
That's
Russell?
What I was wondering. Maybe he didn't want it. Well, okay, but it made me wonder. So the guy who directed it, I didn't know if it was, you know, something to do with the casting director or what, but like the cast for being a movie set in Chicago.
Is it set in Chicago?
Yeah.
All of their accents were like New York.
Or like New York. I know what I'm going to do, man.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the arsonist.
Yeah. And it's set in Chicago. And you know all of those shipping crate docks in Chicago. Like, the ports.
All the ports in Chicago.
Yeah. No, but it was a lot of like... It
looked like season 2 of The Wire. Now, if you understand that joke, congratulations, you're my new best friend.
But literally, I was going through each of these actors, and with the exception of 3, when I had gone through the list, all of them were British actors.
Yeah.
All doing
including our main
accent.
guy, right? Like
yeah,
Joe Anderson.
including Joe Anderson.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, what the hell? Like, So I kind of think this was filmed in the UK in like the summertime.
Really? You think?
It had to have been.
I didn't see that much rain.
No, but a lot of the buildings were very like...
Yeah, they were a little...
They looked like Britishy, and I think that...
I bet you it was.
Oh, no, it was in Canada. It was filmed in Canada.
Oh, well, you know.
Yeah.
British
production
Light.
companies, 1440 Production UK.
You know what I call Canada British Light?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah, and it was a United States and Belgium joint.
That makes sense, too. It's like, where was Willy Wonka filmed? We don't know.
Who cares?
Who cares? Just make the teacher British and all the kids German and Charlie American. And...
Well, and it was like we kept getting confused.
Yeah, well,
and like there was
it's easy to get confused
for many reasons, but like there's a scene where he goes into an office which looks like an old office building. You know, just like there was a lot of like it was all rundown industrial stuff everywhere.
Right.
Except for the brownstone in Chicago. The
brownstone in Chicago.
So
we saw many of those, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. So he goes to he goes in this office building. There ends up being a fire, and he's climbing out the window, and the little girl is like flights up.
Yes.
And it was like, say what? And she's like, help! My father's the apartment manager, or the building manager.
It's not even an apartment.
Yeah, it was like he's a building manager.
It's a building manager.
But she was in her pajamas.
Right. So I'm like, are you sleeping there, or where? I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
Can I tell you my favorite line in this movie?
Sure.
Is when Maggie and our main character, what's his name, Sean, they meet Ronald, and he says, she says, "Who's that?" And he says, "That's the deadly arsonist. That's the most deadly arsonist since Mrs. O'Leary's cow."
Yeah.
And then Donald Sutherland goes, "Moo," and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Ridiculous. But that's the kind of shit you heard in the 90s.
Yeah.
That's 90s humor, right?
Yeah.
That's not like today people would be like, that is cheesy. Get it out of your movie.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or when Billy Baldwin sees him at the restaurant. Don't take Sherlock home to find you. Yeah. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What?
The lines are very cheesy. It's like one or two things happen. Like they're cheesy.
Or they're way too much.
Well, there was a line, and actually I can find it real quick because I know it is like right here. But some of the lines were, I know it's weird. They're very like wordy,
very wordy.
Like he was trying to say something, and then he's like, "Well, I'm going to, try to flesh it out more," and it just was not working.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's a line where Brian Cafferty, who of course was Billy Baldwin from the first Backdraft,
please, I hope
who's now the
I hope this is the line. I think
who's now the chief of the OFI. He says, tells Sean, maybe if you bit your tongue every once in a while, your career dissipation light wouldn't be flashing right now.
I was just like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Do you think the writer was just like...
Because they have like a smoker gas dissipation light that...
No, I don't
much,
care.
Yeah. It was too much.
It's too much.
Yeah, there's ways to say
and there's
that.
There's ways to explain the plot, even if you're not an arsonist, to kind of keep you interested. You woke me up in this movie. And I don't fall asleep in a lot of... Well, I do, but not like in the movie theaters or whatnot. I try not to fall asleep in movies. You had to wake me up a little bit in the middle of this movie. And then you said, don't worry, there's only 50 minutes left. And I said to myself, why do I do this?
So this movie, it very much to me feels like it was made for...
like a backdoor pilot.
It feels like it was made for TV.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is based on the fact that, like, I think back to, like, because I watched the hell out of the CSI shows.
Right.
And, after a while, you get the jargon. Like, early in the series, they would maybe talk about, what ALS was or, like, whatever. They would talk about...
yeah, but you're given a whole season to do that. You're giving 2 hours.
Yes, well, that's what I'm saying. It's
to be an arsonist.
They give you the jargon, and you learn the jargon and, like, the more technical aspects. They don't have to slow down and explain it to you, about different, like, oh, we're going with different wavelengths of light, or we're doing whatever. They don't have to explain it every single time.
Yeah.
So, like, it helps, and it helps you pick up. This movie, it feels like they consulted with a fire, expert, and we're just like, here, write some words. Or like,
write these words.
Or like, how can I say
in
this?
these orders.
Yeah. Or they just Googled things and were like, oh, here's a phrase of something I need to work in. Like, it felt like they were in the jargon stages, but nobody was around to go, what does that mean?
Right.
They had a new person on the case who, like, she just joined the
Maggie,
team. Yeah,
right.
Maggie just joined the team.
She could have been our voice.
And she could have been the voice.
Right.
Where she's like, what does all
She
that
could have
mean?
been our
And
audience.
she was a little bit where she's like, what are you looking at? And he was explaining
more,
how...
Yeah, but that was more like the detective work that went along with that.
Yes, but the other stuff,
Right.
It was like, wait, what? Like, there was things happening that I was like, I don't know what that means.
Right.
But it sounds like
But
jargony.
also,
like
kudos that we let, first of all, a person of color be his partner, and then a woman be his partner.
Yeah.
As well. Like, I was okay with that. Like, I was like, yes, okay, so, it's not all pasty white, Irish guys, from Chicago who are fire marshals.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It seems like that's kind of what the first Backdraft, at least to me, is. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so, well, at least we got that. So that has that going for it, at least, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot. The plot goes on. Oh, well, okay, so the movie starts with the bombing of this house. Like a bomb goes off in the house the day of Halloween.
Yeah.
Right? So it's about October 31st, November 1st, in Chicago. No one's wearing a coat. It's probably not cold out in November 1st, right? Yeah. We all know that Chicago doesn't get cold at all. It's not called the Windy City at all. So I was like, whatever. But first of all, so they knock on the door, to get their candy, and the door blows up and instantly kills 5 kids. This movie starts with 5 kids dying.
Yeah,
typical Backdraft stuff.
Typical stuff.
And they're like, well, how did that happen? Oh, it's probably a Backdraft. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But shouldn't they have said Backdraft 2? Because that's the name of the movie and not Backdraft? Ooh, that's probably a Backdraft 2.
they should have.
I'm just saying.
Oh no, a Backdraft 2?
And then Billy Baldwin comes in, and throughout the whole movie, he's slower than anything. I don't know if it's because of his age, but there's a scene where he's just looking at the kids, and then he turns to the Sean character and goes, "That's a lot of kids.
That's a lot of dead kids.
That's a lot of dead kids." Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks.
I get
it. maybe you should be like, we gotta catch this scum.
Yeah.
And instead you're like, that's a lot of dead kids.
There's a lot of dead kids.
Right. Then he gets out, there's a scene where Sean falls from a building, and then Billy Baldwin's character gets out of his truck, slowly puts on his fire jacket, slowly walks. I'm like, you're a fireman.
Well, and
why
also,
are you the slowest fireman on the planet?
Well, and also because he
in your lines, you're talking slow too.
He dives out of the building, or no, he's Sean is hanging on this pole. He just
with
saved
the girl
kid.
that he saved.
And she gets gets saved, but the pipe or pole or whatever that he's on bends and falls. And they're like, "Oh God, we lost him." Well, he fell into garbage, but it looks like it's construction stuff. So he has to have landed on a bunch of hard metal and jagged things. And there's even these big poles, which are support items on the outside of the building, are crumpled up and have him pinned.
Correct.
And then his uncle's like, "I think it's time that we should talk about this.
We should have a talk. Stop blaming me for your dad's death.
You don't know everything.
You don't know anything about that. You didn't watch Backdraft. You were only 2 when that came out. Obviously, you didn't watch it. So stop blaming me for your dad's death."
Yeah, and he kind of spills the beans that he says that. Spoiler alert, by the way. He says that your dad.
Sorry, we spoiled the Backdraft 2 for you.
Your dad died saving his best friend, John. But John was also the arsonist.
Was that
Scott Glenn?
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember who the actor was.
Yeah. And they show, even at one point, his dad is looking at pictures, his son's looking at pictures, and you see Kurt Russell's picture on the wall.
Yeah.
And right next to him is John Adcox.
Again, why did you not get Wyatt Russell?
I don't know.
It would have been better.
I agree with that. I do agree, but like maybe they did offer it to him and he didn't want it.
Mm.
Well, but like think of when it came out, Wyatt Russell was his star was starting to rise a little bit, so maybe that's what they aimed for, and he was just like,
he was too busy,
pass.
filming Lodge 49.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
what show he was in? That was a show, right?
Or whatever. Too.
Oh no. He was probably filming Falcon and the Snowman.
In 2019, yeah, he might have been.
Not Falcon and the Snowman. Well, that's what I call it.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Sorry, Falcon and the Snowman.
It's a different movie.
Mm-hmm. Very different movie.
So, but yeah, it's like...
You would agree that this movie, though, doesn't know what it wants to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it suffers from the fact that, like, we know, and we talked about this before, when it's like, okay, now you have a character, that character is downtrodden and he's got to redeem himself. It's already set up like that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you've already pigeonholed yourself into a cliche that we've seen over and over again.
Yeah.
This is nothing new. There's a moment like after he had been he fell off that building, and then he's at the restaurant drinking. And by the way, he's the only thing he has is some scrapes on his head.
Yeah, little
from
scuffs.
falling. Or no, was that when they were like? No, was that when they escaped the fire? Again.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Same thing.
That was the same.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah,
the
it was
same part. Yeah,
it was the whole thing.
Yes.
You just escaped a fire, and the girl has no scrapes at all, and no burns or anything.
Yeah, she just.
And then he goes through this monologue that a lot of people think I'm not a great fireman because I don't play well with others. But I'm the best fireman there is because I'm not a fireman. I am a fireman because I'm not a fireman. And if you were a fireman, you would be a fireman like me. I'm not a fireman. And that makes me the best fireman there is. And I'm like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, it was probably not that so convoluted, but it was pretty big.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it was. But it suffers from that cliche of, I have these ghosts and I've got these demons that I gotta conquer, which by the way, I don't think he ever does really.
No.
He just adopts a dog and finds a girlfriend.
Well, okay, so we keep getting these flashbacks when he's thinking about fire stuff. Because Rebecca De Mornay is not in this movie.
Right.
Clearly, which I think was his mother.
Yes.
But they allude to the fact that she got remarried, and
yes,
and he doesn't.
Because he was talking about his stepdad's house, like it burned down.
Yeah,
his stepdad's house.
Yeah, well, yeah, they had. He keeps flashing back to when he's a kid, and you see him sitting in the middle of his room, and everything's on fire, and you don't know if it's just like a dream or like what it is, but then you start to realize, I think that it's. Basically, it was him remembering that he set it on fire. And when he goes and talks to Bartel, he's like, I can tell, you can dance with the dragon and you can blah, 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 which is talking about how, deep down you're a pyromaniac, but you can do it right. You have what it takes to be a great arsonist.
You could be an artist, an arson. Yeah. You could do it.
You're like an arson Jedi.
Don't do it for the right reasons. Do it for the wrong reasons, like I do.
Yeah. And
my diabetes.
And so they keep that point keeps coming back up.
Yeah. Did you feel like Donald Sutherland's character? Did you feel like when he was acting, he was kind of, I don't know, he didn't really want to be there?
Yeah, I do, but I don't, because here's the difference.
He's a professional. We get that.
Billy Baldwin, when he did it, or not Billy? Yeah,
Billy. Well, Billy, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. When he does it.
Daniel? Steven? Alec?
Adam? not the right one.
Not the right Baldwin.
He James?
Very much not.
He goes when Billy Baldwin's doing it, he's just like, hey, let me tell you about this. Like, he still does a fine job of acting, but, like, sometimes you can tell when somebody is just, like, going through the motions.
Going through the motions.
And with the exception of maybe one scene, that's kind of what I got from Billy Baldwin. Like, he didn't do a bad job.
Oh, we're not saying he didn't.
No, Billy Baldwin did a fine job. But, like, he was kind of phoning it in. And I kind of could tell, like, I don't think that that Donald Sutherland was super into it, but also, like, Donald Sutherland, like, gave it, I think he gave
what he could.
Yeah, I think he still
over
put
to something that
he still put feeling in behind it. So, like, I think he did more so than, like, the other stuff. Like, I could tell he was still trying to, like, he wasn't doing it flatly. He wasn't doing whatever.
No, he wasn't doing flatly. He was over the top, but he wasn't over the top, and he just wasn't that great.
No, but I don't think it was. I don't think it was really that well written of a part.
No,
but like, I think that Donald Sutherland gave it his, like, he gave it what he could, and tried to make it.
That's when it turns into. Now it's Silence of the Lambs of arson movies.
That's kind of what it was last time.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was last time too. And but this was all over the place. Now it's Die Hard. Now it's not. Now it's 24. Now it's the Terrorists. Now it just was all over the place.
Yeah, that whole thing was weird.
Now it's a costume drama. Remember that?
Yeah.
No, it was never a costume drama.
It was.
No.
Yes.
Do you think this could have been better if it was, say, a prequel and it was his grandfather? And it was a younger.
Yeah, maybe.
Chasing after.
No, honestly, I think this could have been okay if it did involve the terrorist plot.
I agreed.
To me, terrorist plots are boring.
And also, like, the bombs and everything, I think, aren't Backdraft, right? That's more Speed or Die Hard.
Yeah,
in a way that's not really Backdraft to me.
Some arson stuff deals with that, but, like, it got really more focused on bombs than the other part. But, like, sometimes those go part and parcel. Like, they, arsonists will build incendiary things into.
Yeah, but I'm just like, there was this really, and I think it was one of the like Bow Bridges or Bridges, Jeff Bridges, maybe it was Jeff Bridges, and it was called Blown Away.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a Speed ripoff kind of movie. I enjoyed it when it was in the movies, but I want to assume it does not hold up now. I've only seen it once. But that's what it kind of like at the end was reminding me of. It was like, oh, here's another bomb. Here's another. And it just was all like, here we go again. We don't know what we want to be, but we know we're not a comedy. Because we took ourselves way too serious.
I thought Blown Away was it was Jeff Bridges. But it's a bomb thing. But that was all over. Like, I thought it had a lot of, like, clear and present danger kind of stuff in it, and, like,
Blown Away or this movie?
Blown Away.
Oh yeah. That was a ripoff.
That also was Tommy Lee Jones doing an Irish accent.
Oh, that's right. Oh my god. Oh my god. I want to watch that now just to laugh at him. Oh my god.
Yeah. To me
that was like after Fugitive too. Like he was just hot off Fugitive or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's what I get this feeling. I get a feeling that this is either it's a backdoor pilot or it's stuck in kind of 90s dialogue in a way, or 90s feel.
Yeah.
There's a reason why maybe some of these guys that hit big with one or two movies in the 90s and maybe not so much in the aughts or on don't really write that much because there's nothing really modern to what they bring. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're never kind of rewriting. It just seems like, well, that worked before.
So
let's do it again.
So I do want to correct myself too. So he didn't write Highlander 2. He made the characters for it.
Oh, okay. So it was like one of those.
So he did Highlander.
Credits of
a TV movie called Weekend War, Backdraft. He did.
It doesn't matter. This is the Highlander 2.
He did. Something called Rescue 77. and then Green Sails, and then the whole bunch of nothing.
Yeah.
Until
that's what I'm
something
that's
other
what I'm
life,
talking
and
about.
then Backdraft 2.
But it feels like he's stuck writing that because no one ever either showed him we could write something else besides what you're normally writing.
Yeah.
Like it feels like you're just stuck in this. I don't know. I don't want to say like the 90s is a genre, but the 90s in decades has a feel to it. Like the 80s has a feel to it. The 90s has a feel to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you can recognize that sometimes in stuff that it just feels out of place. To me, this movie the whole movie feels out of place.
Well, the guy was so I knew this because I read this earlier too, but so the guy like in the mid 80s who wrote this, he sold his he wrote a screenplay for UCLA Film School and sold it like once he graduated. It was called Shadow Clan. He got $500,000 for it.
Okay.
And that was what became Highlander.
Oh.
So it was like it was your thesis coming out of college.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah.
And then Backdraft, and then really not that
Prophecy
much.
And, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a mid-80s,
it seems like this is
kinda
on a very special Sweep Weeks Chicago Fire.
Yeah, basically.
You know?
Well, and I gotta tell you, I always hated, like, I love, like, I don't love procedurals, but, like, there's some of them that speak to me, like, I will say, like, I was a big fan of CSI stuff, and I was a big fan of Elementary, but the episodes that I'm always like, ugh, is the ones where all of a sudden it's like a terrorist thing that gets involved with it, because it's like, because it becomes way bigger than something they can deal with.
Not even a comical. It just becomes, like you said, way bigger than what it should be.
Right.
And it feels like it's stuck in something that because you're like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Really? You know, here comes the bomb episode.
Well, okay, so here's a progression of it through the movie, just so everybody's clear. We're like hopping around with this. So, bomb goes off, kids get killed. They investigate it. They learn, oh, hey, well, it looks like it comes out of this wall outlet. So that's the culprit. It's an electrical thing. It's an accident. And so he dismisses it and says, no, it's not. It couldn't have done all of this. So he goes and thinks that, hey, it's this thing by this air conditioning unit. And then he looks at it and realizes that can't be right either. Like, he goes, it's meant to look like that was. And so then he found out that there's some sort of pour pattern. So they spread like some professional level, like arsonist, liquid that they sprayed everywhere to start this fire. BZ and linoleum was what I say.
I don't think they started the fire. I mean, it's always been burning
since the world's been turning. But basically he said these guys are pros. They set up like two false like accident things that we could say, oh, it was an accident, and in reality he found where it was arson.
Right.
And then
sorry, I'm yawning because it's your explanation. The plot is boring.
Yeah, it is. So then he's like, well, what the hell? So they look it up. He investigates it. ATF is sniffing around. Why are they there? Why is the U.S. government involved?
Right.
They figure out. I can't even remember what the leap was on this, but they're investigating the family.
Yes.
And
the family that the house caught on fire.
Yeah, and they realize that he was involved, like he worked at a lab, like a government lab that had some sort of a fire claim, or they were some research lab that was doing work for the Department of Defense. They had some sort of problem and like a fire, so they go and check that.
24 political.
Yeah, it's got kind of the same situation going on. And so then they're like, well, that's weird. So they... they had deemed it an accident, but it really didn't look like it was. It was the same kind of faked, fire. And so they go back to, they end up talking with, like a car was on fire that had the hunters in it, which were the people who owned the house. And so they were found burned in their car through an arson. And so that's when they run into, like, the ATF guy again. And then they talk to his boss, who tells them, well, really what this is, there was, like, a missile, this is where I was confused, either a missile or plans for a missile on a hard drive that were at that lab. And the fire supposedly destroyed them.
In the most, like... Law and Order kind of scene that you could have. Eating Chicago dogs on the side of the road, telling you this for 20 minutes of the movie.
Right. Ugh. And so he's like, explosion, or the thing went off, but when we went and looked at it, we could tell that it was like a fake, so that it looked like it was done. And so he took, so they realized that he must have stolen whatever hard drive and like other like equipment was out there. They went to the guy was talking to like a kid at the hunter's house, and he said, like, we used to love playing over here, but like his parents would say we're not allowed to dig in the yard, we have to go dig in the park if we're going to do this, like can't dig in the yard. And then he realized, oh, maybe it's something buried in the yard, and so they find the hard drive buried in the ground, so it didn't get burned up in the backdraft. And so then they go to an office that's connected to it. They get in the office. They fight with some like terrorist guy, and they have the place set to blow like the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So the office goes up, and they're like, "Oh, like this looks like this is where the missile was," like because of these scratch patterns. And they're like, "I'm like, what?" And so fire goes off. It was weird. Like, they set the thing off where, like, hey, the side of the wall goes up first to make it look like an accident. And then while he's fighting this guy and the fire's breaking out, then the roof caves in on the guy. And he's like, they're like, okay, they hide. And they're like, if you move, the fire will get drawn to you. So you have to wait for him to do it.
Tell me who
the
did
crossover
this.
starts.
No one and everyone. Yeah. Everyone and no one.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Stupid stuff.
And
so he goes, that guy, like the terrorist, finally moves and the fire all draws to him. Maggie escapes. And Sean is amazed at the fire. He's just entranced with it.
Ooh.
And finally he shoots out the window and jumps out it and hangs on a pipe on the side. And then that's
when the little girl shows up.
Yeah, that's when the little girl shows up.
Why is she there?
Yeah.
No, where's your dad at?
He's the building manager.
Where's he at?
I don't know. He's
the worst dad ever. Is it bring your daughter to work day?
But I don't know. I thought they were saying they were apartments in, but that can't be right.
Can't be right.
And why is she in pajamas?
We don't know.
Yeah.
Who is she? We don't know. We don't care.
Yeah.
He falls off the building, saves her.
Yeah.
The talk with Billy Baldwin.
Yeah. Yada. Tells him the plot of the first movie.
Yeah.
So then he, of course, all this time he's like talking to Bartell and getting info about stuff. But some people had checked with Bartell, like, to find out how he would do it with, this, that, and the other. He realizes that, like, if it's basically things are going off based on their cell phone signals. Like, when they get close to it, that's when some of the bombs or whatever will go off. So he's investigating. Oh, and then he goes back home. Like, he's met a girlfriend during all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Jenny.
Is that her name?
Yeah, Jenny.
I didn't even pay attention.
You don't remember? Her phone
number
was
didn't.
212-867-5309.
So he meets her, and it's a weird exchange in the beginning too. Like, he's in a restaurant.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Why?
My dad
here?
owns the restaurant." Blah blah blah.
Well,
They're going
she
back
says, like, you scare the owner. He's like, "No, I saved him."
Yeah.
And then you find out that the owner's her dad, but she doesn't talk to him. She just hangs out in his place in the hopes that one day he will, or something weird like that.
Whatever. I don't even know if that was real.
Yeah, I don't know what that whole.
I don't even know if that was true.
And so
I don't even care about Jenny.
so
Jenny's
they go.
Just there to
she goes back to his place.
Jenny's not a great actress.
Yeah, they wake up in the morning, and the dog is kind of upset. There's a stray dog that just keeps going into his house.
Yes.
But he's like
Lassie, kind of like
the dog's kind of upset, and he's just like, "What?" And he smells gas, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And so then he looks under the bed and realizes there's like a trigger plate.
There's a trigger bomb on his bed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he gets her out of there. She
calls.
The authorities.
Billy comes first. Billy Baldwin.
Yeah. And so he's like, which none of it makes sense.
Nope.
He's just like, well, we got to get you out of here because of whatever. And he's like, we can.
How did Billy get there first?
Yeah, we can put blocks on the bed, and then you can get out of here. But then like something else, it like kicks into gear, which means it's probably going to blow soon.
I'll go downstairs, knock a hole in the ceiling to get the gas to come down.
Because he said, I'm gonna knock a hole in here. I'm gonna turn the gas off. And he's like, don't do that because they probably booby trapped it. And then he's like, I gotta get the gas away from you and filter it out through the kitchen. And so they're like, okay. So he goes in there, closes the door, starts hacking at the ceiling. Now he doesn't open a window for the gas to like go out or dissipate. However, he just starts hacking away at the ceiling. When he hacks away at the ceiling and it opens, there's like another like spark thing in there. Like they booby trapped the ceiling somehow, like underneath the plaster. And
don't try to make sense of it, Jeremy. Just keep going with the plot.
And so it's like all this is in slow motion too.
No, I don't think it's in slow motion. I just think Billy just that slow. He's really just doing every motion really slow. Yeah. And what they had to do was slow it down because, he was going too fast.
Yeah. So he hacks open the ceiling. It blows up. The fire blows out the window. Fire shoots out the door. And it blows Sean's bed up into the air. Which somehow he's okay because...
Somehow he's okay, but Billy dies.
Because the bulk of the blast went elsewhere, I guess.
Right.
But...
No, they go to a funeral, right? They show the funeral, so they're like, "Oh, who died?" And I turn to you, I go, "All this is for a dog that died."
The dog didn't die.
I know, but like, I was like, "Oh, a 10 gun salute for a dog." It's ridiculous. No, the Billy dies, and then he's like, "I'm going to be determined." Well, and then all of his fellow fire guys come.
Yeah,
we'll help you.
We'll help you. Even his captain, who he accused her earlier of just being there to like
just being a dick.
Of just being there for like resume building.
We'll be here for you.
We got you. And so
we got you. We're also all British actors.
Yeah, they were all British, and it's really bad. The accents are really hard to get around.
Yeah, kind of.
Because you can tell they're really trying to like make it sound
everyone
like
from
something.
Chicago talks like this, right?
It's weird. They can't. Some of them sound like they're from New York. Some sound kind of Chicago-ish, and then a bunch of them sound like they're from Philly. It's like all over the place.
It's true.
So
some of them sound like this from Omaha.
Hello, it is me. Was that Keith? Was that Donald Sutherland?
I'm Donald. I'm from Omaha.
Hello.
I don't know.
So they managed to track. He's like, wait, he talks to Donald Sutherland, who basically tells him like,
the terrorists are probably hanging out over here.
Yeah, they're probably like,
I don't know why he knows that.
Yeah, if it's here, it would be this and this. Like he talks about what kind of. You'd already have to be around a place that had lots of propane and like this and this and blah blah blah.
Smell the propane, be the
and
the
so he realized there's a shipping. Phone. Yeah, there's a
shipyard.
A shipyard, and so he's
there's all the shipyards in Chicago.
And so he goes, oh my god! So he goes and checks all these shipping crates with what I thought was either like a heat detector or whether it was like a like it was checking for petrochemicals or whatever it was.
I don't know.
But he's scanning each box. And he finds the one and he opens it and it's like, oh my god, it's this missile. And so he marks it so he can track it to see who takes it. And after they take it, he springs a trap and tries to arrest
But Maggie has followed him.
Yeah.
To figure it out.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Sean?
Yeah. So they so everything, all hell breaks loose and the terrorists start firing. They shoot one of them. The other one shoots Sean Maggie in the gut.
And shoots Sean.
Which he's okay. Like, now, this always bothers me in movies. Like, he has spat up a crazy amount of blood out of his mouth, like gurgling blood out of his mouth. But he's okay. It's just a little gut wound. He'll be all right.
I know. I want to go home from work where I get a paper cut.
Like, oh my God. And so then Maggie's like, Sean, and runs over, and she gets shot in the shoulder. And the terrorist is just like, you see him walk around the back. He doesn't shoot Sean, but he said something about like, you didn't even get the right
because it turns into like a lethal weapon kind of thing.
Yeah.
At that point, right? Where he's all like, I'm crazy. Go ahead and shoot me. And I'm like, oh my God.
Well, he tells him.
Seen this over.
Well, but he tells him to go ahead and shoot me because, I traded out the missile that was in the back of here, you like arms dealer terrorist guy. I've traded out the missile and it's not in there. Now and if you kill me, you're never going to find out where it is. And he goes, what? And so he walks back there to check it out. When he opens it, Sean has rigged it with like a booby trap. God. Now, if you would have stopped him and then you had to like get the missile out of there, wouldn't that have just taken care of the next person? Anyway, but he opens it. It triggers the missile to fire its rocket, which burns the guy's like head, face and whatever off. He just falls over as like a burned skeleton. And then Sean gets Maggie. They run across the street. Mm-hmm. The truck blows up. Now they are next to like a fuel yard, which is great when things are blowing up near you. But so they hunker down over there. The day is saved, and he goes. Yeah, back
the
with
next scene is him
and
his girlfriend and the dog. Looks like you're gonna have to find a new place, and then it ends with a call for like a new fire that's going on. Which that's how the first one ended too. The first one ended like that too. So that's why. Which I guess is a nice callback, but whatever.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't know what it wants to be. Look, real quick, the payoff for this movie, it doesn't hold up for me. Like, I wanted it to be like in the movie, if the arsonist in the first one is one of his best friends, this should really impact him in a way that really kind of screws him up in his head. Like, I almost wanted Billy Baldwin's character to be the one doing something. Yeah. Or someone that was close to him.
Yeah.
To kind of like be a traitor for him, right?
Yeah.
Or something. But the payoff to have like the terrorists just doesn't work for me.
The terrorists were a bit too much. Like, honestly, like I would have just liked for it to be like a super arsonist that he was going after, not like a legit super arsonist, but like,
or someone that's connected to the family.
Yeah.
Or someone.
I didn't even need that. I just needed it not to be a terrorist.
Yes.
Because that took it to a different level where it's like it was just nonsense.
Well, it takes you out of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really off-putting at that point. So, no, I'm with you. Like, that was just too much. But he didn't know that his dad's buddy betrayed him. So, like, I could see where, like, although I would have liked for that to impact him more.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, like
you should have it because your character should be learning something.
Yeah,
I don't really think he's learned anything.
Yeah,
except he got a dog and a girl at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
what else is there?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Oh, that you're a great arsonist. That you like fire.
He's always pushed people away because
he has a dog and a girlfriend.
He felt abandoned by his dad. And he felt abandoned, like the firemen, whatever.
Big deal. You didn't learn.
But hold on. But
no. You hold on.
He always felt like betrayed and whatever through all of this, and him being told like your dad, even though this dude betrayed him, like he was still his best friend and he sacrificed his life to save him, should have been like a wake up call to be like, I can't push these people away.
Correct.
The people who mean something.
Correct, but we should have saw that.
Yeah, but it didn't really. But we were too busy in the terrorist plot to have any of that. Yeah. And there was only one moment that I felt that, and it was after Billy Baldwin's funeral, when all the people were like, "Dude, let's do this together."
Right.
Like, okay, that should have been
right.
If we'd had more of that,
because he had that monologue that I was making fun of that was like, I've never been one to be part of a team.
Yes.
And now you're part of a team. And now I feel like, but then he was all like, we'll do anything to get this. And then he goes off on his own and then finds a terrorist.
Yes.
Bullshit. Come on.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But All right, let's get into our 5 questions.
Please.
Okay. What do you think is the best part of the movie?
This is a very interesting question, in my opinion, which I'm going to have you answer first.
Okay. Honestly, like, I didn't think this movie was that poorly acted. Like,
I did.
I didn't. I thought the acting was fine. But like, it could have been so much stronger. But I honestly, like, when Bartel came on screen, like, those scenes I thought were more interesting because, like, it was almost like getting into the psychology of the arsonist piece, and like, I could have dug that more if the movie dealt with more of that, but we really didn't. It turned into the terrorist plot thing. But like, so I liked the scenes with Bartel and Sean. Like, I thought Joe Anderson and Donald Sutherland actually, outside of the poor kind of acting, or not acting, poor kind of writing. Yeah. I thought that they played off each other pretty well. And I really liked those scenes. Like, those were the scenes that I was like, when they would come together, I was like, yes, we're getting one of these. Okay. Like, that was what I wanted to see the most of. And well, I did. I think the acting was fine. Like, we've seen worse acting in many other things.
We've seen really bad.
The acting is fine. There are some people who are way stronger than others. But I didn't feel like, I feel like these people, like, in the right project could have really shined a little bit more. And this just felt very much like they were acting an old script.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like that's what kind of hamstrung them on this a little bit. But like, I think the acting was fine, but in particular, the Bartel and McCaffrey scenes were the ones where I was just like, yes, that was, to me, the best part of it.
I understand what you're saying. I disagree with you, but I understand that I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in fact, there are moments where in the movie, the best acted scenes are between Donald Sutherland and the Sean character.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. I just don't think it's very well written, and I don't think it's very well acted. Having said that, I think my favorite part of this movie is the fires themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because so many times on a low budget film, you're going to get like fires that look like they're just very computer animated.
You didn't think it looked like that?
What's that?
You didn't think it looked like that?
No, I mean really, really, really bad.
Okay. Yeah.
If you can say that the acting wasn't bad, I'm saying that it's not as bad as it could have been.
Yeah.
I know this sounds really weird because normally I do try to find something positive out of it.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is that this movie really, really, really could have been bad.
Yeah.
And it was just subpar. And I guess by saying that, I guess you didn't shit upon the original too much, but you didn't bring the tone of the first movie to the second movie.
I agree.
And that was very disappointing. But I guess I really enjoyed the fact that they did do, like you said, it's not necessarily the acting for me, but more of the casting choices. The fact that you were like, let's put like a female and make her black and have her, be, and she was intelligent. She was like getting information, and they were working as kind of a team in that aspect too, where she was like, hey, good detective work, huh?
Well,
you know what I mean?
She was,
but I feel like it could have been more of a buddy thing.
She was green, but she was tough. Like, they weren't making her like,
no, they weren't making it. But what I'm saying
I'm a girl. What do I do?
I'm saying is they could have made that the movie.
Yeah.
And had that been more of their buddy. I thought they were going to.
Yes.
Once they were like you have to like team up with people.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not good as a team. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess I'm not really answering the question.
It's tough because, I mean, this movie is very like,
it is tough.
We have seen so many worse movies, but again, we've seen so many better, and it just feels so like.
But I'm also going. I'm not saying that this movie had potential. I'm saying it should have had potential.
Yeah, I would agree.
And that wasn't brought forth But I guess I'm with you. The scenes between Sean and Donald Sutherland are probably the best part of it.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie is just like
It's
the
just
beige of
there.
sequels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like it was. I don't know. Like it was just like, like they had this big. I don't know. Like
it's
so many missteps.
so
like
hard.
you had this opportunity.
If you've
to
never
build
seen
a
this
team.
movie, it's hard to explain.
You had this opportunity to build this team, but for some reason the writer felt there should be only one.
There should be only
there
one.
Could be only one character.
Yes.
Anyway, do you think this movie stands on its own?
No. There's a lot of stuff that because I hadn't seen the movie in a while, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm questioning this. I'm like, wait, who is the guy? Who was his friend? So no, I don't think so. And I think that that was done on purpose, and I don't think it was the correct move.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What about you?
I think honestly, like even with the mentions of just his dad dying and all of that, I think it could have stood on its own.
It could have,
because like the story with his dad stuff gets talked about, so that's not so weird. Like we get it. It's kind of a general storyline. What I think makes it not stand on its own is Bartell. When you get Donald Sutherland, because then you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
like,
who's that?
All of a sudden it's like this character that everybody's fawning over, and like, why is he like got run of everything? I hoarded sugar and I ate sugar packets because I'm diabetic. It's like, what? Like, why is he hanging around?
Agreed.
It was like, without knowing him from the prior movie, it makes it weird here. So I don't think it stands on its own. I think it could have, with the subtraction of,
It's so hard because you watch this movie and you're like, why? There's no reason for you to make a Backdraft 2.
No, there's not.
There really isn't.
Nope.
And so it's really, it's like Monsters, Inc. to me. Like, there's no reason to make a Monsters University.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there just was no reason. Question 3.
Does this make you want to watch the first movie?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no.
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 Now, having
Hard
said that,
pass.
I haven't seen that movie in a while, and I do love me some Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
So it's something I would watch in the future.
Definitely should watch that.
But this movie does not make me want to watch it. It's one of those movies that used to be on like HBO or like something.
Yes,
it used to be
that's where I saw it.
Always be on. You know what I mean? They would be like, ooh, it's an afternoon and there's Backdraft.
Yeah.
Okay, let's watch it.
Although I will say, when I first watched CSI, and episodes like where they would have arson would come on and they'd be talking about things in there, I'd be like, how come they're not talking about Backdraft? I just thought they were much more common than
Right.
But it was like, nope, that's not happening. It's just like like everything I knew about arson came from Backdraft.
It was hard knowing who got jurisdiction in this movie.
Everybody.
A lot of yeah,
and the cops kept going.
I don't want these kids.
If somebody got burned, it's yours.
Yes,
I'm like, what?
The cops kept saying that. like is from the first movie? Is that from the first movie where they go, 2 people go into a building and 1 person comes out?
Yeah.
Is that from the first movie?
I think, yeah.
Then why keep saying that if that's not really?
Because they'd say 2 people go in, 2 people need to come out.
Oh, okay.
Or they would say, like, this many people, this many
care.
came out. Like, no,
After a while,
somebody
I was
left.
like, fuck you, I don't want to hear that again.
Yeah, right. Would you reboot, continue, or cancel?
No.
None of that?
No.
You wouldn't even cancel?
I wouldn't even cancel it.
Why?
This movie shouldn't have existed.
No, but that's not what the question
I know
is.
that's not what the question is, but I'm putting a new answer in. This movie should not have existed.
And that's
Bottom
fine,
line.
but it does.
Right. I'm aware it does.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't reboot it. You shouldn't cancel it. You shouldn't even do anything to it because it shouldn't exist.
So it should have been canceled after the first one.
Right.
Okay, so it still should be canceled after the second one.
It should have never happened.
Okay, canceled. Good answer.
It should have never happened.
Good answer.
For us
Good
to cancel
answer.
it.
Good answer.
So we should never even
Good
have the
answer.
opportunity to cancel, reboot it, or do anything to it. It should have never existed.
Good answer.
Thank you.
Canceled. Good.
No, I didn't say cancel.
Cancel, gotcha.
Cancel this, but not cancel the going or whatever.
What? What?
What are you talking about?
It'd be canceled after the second one.
I am one of the greatest people when it talks about canceling the original and not having the cancel be the cancel part.
Yeah.
So when you cancel something, I'm the best canceler there is.
Yeah.
And if I'm not a canceler, I'm also the best canceler. So you can cancel that.
Canceled. Good.
Says a fireman. What do you say?
Cancel it.
Okay.
Cancel it.
That's not what I say.
I say, don't make the second one exist even.
Yes.
No.
Go back in time and make sure the second one doesn't exist.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Well, you know what? If I ever make a time machine, people are like, oh, stop Hitler. No. Stop from making Backdraft 2.
Just go up and book check the script out of his hand into a puddle.
No.
No.
Give us a new Highlander.
No.
I know, exactly. Go ahead. What's our next
Some
question?
of your experience in 2
Oh,
words.
yeah. Okay, slow burn. Because this movie was slow and it made me want to burn my eyes out. So slow burn.
I'm so sorry.
Do you have your 2 questions or 2 words?
I really wish I did.
Go ahead, tell me your 2 words. Go ahead.
Backdraft blue, because this movie really blows.
What?
Upset.
All right, where can people find us, Jeremy?
People can find us at thedeucepodcast.podbean.com.
My eyes out.
They can find us on Google Play, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, any of those kind of podcatchers.
Sure.
You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at Deuce Podcast. And then in addition to that, of course, there's the NoPhonyNetwork.com, which is our podcasting network's page. And there's all sorts of stuff on there, even outside of, our show. You have politics, you have sports.
Yeah?
Yes. Politics, sports, you've got
Oh la la.
reading, you've got, dramas, you've got comedy, you got everything. So
there you go. Just go there.
make sure to go up there.
Go on
and, check them out.
NoPhonyPodcast.com.
NoPhonyPodcast.com. NoPhonyNetwork.com.
NoPhonyNetwork.com.
Yeah.
.com. Not .net.
.net.
.net. That means you couldn't get the .com. All right. Well, remember, folks, we'll be back next week with our conclusion. I can't even talk anymore. Backdraft's got me so confused. All right, cancel. All right, we'll be back with another cruel summer. But remember, the sequel is king.
I'm focused. I've been watching for the omens. I've been listening to everything you said. It's been running through my head, locked and loaded. I got the feeling that you know it. Yeah, I've only just begun. I won't stop until it's done, till you're broken. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the lighter. Flame it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flame, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. Flame it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flame, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. I've been waiting for this moment, the final battle of of the chosen. See, I'm never gonna quit. Got my legacy set in